Good morning and welcome to an update from BJ Kerno Modelling. So last week I talked about having a rummage around in the garage and finding some Imperial Guard that I'd historically bought, painted, boxed up on a couple of, we've moved house a couple of times. They've been boxed up and put in the garage and pretty much forgotten about. And it wasn't until I was sort of having a bit of a rummage around the other week that I come across a packing case and I thought, oh, what's in there? And I found some tanks. So I thought I'd show them off. I was quite pleased with them when I did them at the time. Now I've had these for a number of years. I think I started collecting Imperial Guard round about when they had the plastic release of Catachan. So that just sort of shows how long ago. I can remember going to Games Day with some friends from Truro, and we had a great day. And I remember picking up a box of the plastic Catachans and being quite excited about putting them together. So it's a number of years ago that I've had this Imperial Guard army. So again, I was sort of reflecting back on the video from Gav Booth over Christmas and talked about things that needed finishing off, and I thought, well, okay, so maybe it may be time to start revisiting the garage, see what projects didn't make it, and see if I've got any desire to finish them off. If I haven't, then it'll be eBay and somebody else can enjoy them. So I'm going to show off my a couple of Leman Russes today, and this is a paint scheme that I sort of saw in a White Dwarf when I used to sort of follow the magazine, and it was one that sort of stuck with me really. So I thought, oh, it's quite a nice pattern, and so I painted a few tanks in this colour scheme. So basically, I sort of go around this Leman Russ. Now I'm sure you've seen lots of Leman Russes on YouTube and on the internet. So I'm not going to sort of go into technical specs and bits and pieces like that. A, because I can't remember some of the stats for the Imperial Guard, but also I think it's pretty boring. So this is the command tank, which most of the tanks that I've created or produced were all scrappers. So I used the Troll Trader, and if you haven't been and looked at the Troll Trader on eBay, go and have a look. He sells lots of bits and pieces. So I picked up most of these tanks, and they were scrappers. They were ones that people had really badly painted or smashed up, and I sort of put them back together again, and really enjoyed the process of doing so. And it's a sort of labour of love really, and I've sort of a couple of times I've thought, oh, I'll sell those tanks, and I've sort of photographed them and I've gone to put them on eBay, and I thought, nah, I spent too long, and I enjoyed sort of rescuing every single one of them. And I even found myself earlier looking at on eBay and looking at a knackered out Leman Russ, thinking, shall I? But we'll see. I've got a few ideas, and this is where we're at. So pretty much, I think it was the first one I did, and it was in a bit of a bad shape. It had been smashed up by the owner, and I sort of bought a few bits and pieces, and sort of made it good. So from there, I sort of thought, oh, I quite like the Leman Russ. It's pretty much the futuristic version of the Sherman. So I thought, we'll build another one. So that's what I did. I built another one. So again, this is one that's come from, I think it's come from the Troll Trader. And again, it was one that needed rescuing. Now, this was done a long time ago, so my painting has improved a little bit. So I might revisit these. Each one's got a searchlight, and I put some sandbags. So I thought someone was coming to the door. Some sandbags around the cupula, and I gave him a map so he could find out where he was going to get lost to. So that's the next one I did, and then I got the bug then, so it sort of went a bit mad. So I sort of ended up painting a entire tank company, which is 3 tanks each for each sort of regiment. I've got a hellhound for a bit of fast support, and also at the very front is a commissar, which is using a Forge World turret, and I painted him up because you can't really go to war without a commissar to keep you in order. Not that I think he'd probably turn his gun on his own tanks, but so the turret and the commissar is from Forge World. I think this Leman Russ, I think the turret was in such a bad state, it was never ever going to be a Leman Russ battle tank again. So I sort of went onto Forge World and bought a turret, and this was the result. So again, quite pleased with the way that that's turned out, yeah, quite pleased. I've also added and I can't remember, I think that's a Vanquisher turret. That's my tank hunter. I think at the back I've painted, I think it's a Punisher, which I believe this is where I pull it out and it breaks. I think I may not have. I'm sure on one of the tanks I used magnets so I could put all the loadouts onto that particular tank. So that's where we're at. So we sort of just do a quick flyby. After seeing Fury, I'm really quite keen to have a battle with these, to be fair. I couldn't tell you what that turret is, or what that tank, or what that type of barrel that is. So, you know, if you do know, please leave comments below. So yeah, that's the tank company. Now you'll see in the corner a Bane blade. So let's bring this monster to the forefront. So this was a moment of madness on the internet. I had some Christmas money, excuse me, and many years ago, I bought a Bane blade, didn't build it, and for whatever reason, needed the money, so I sold it, and this was going to be the final piece to the centerpiece for this Leman Russ or Imperial Guard tank company. So I picked this one up on eBay, really quite reasonably priced. Excuse me. First of all, I went onto the Games Workshop site. My God, was I shocked how much these things are going for. So this came up, I put a watch on it, this came up, and I was chuffed to bits for the price that I paid for it. To be honest, the person who had it before me, they did a really reasonably good paint job on it. But what my aim is to paint this in the same colour scheme as these. I've got to remember how I did it, but I think that's half the fun. And it needs a few bits and pieces to be done, so I'm going to enjoy that. It needs the side sponsons, so I've got to try and source them from somewhere, and just generally make it look like the rest of the tank company. Once I've done that, I'll probably show it off again, and then I don't know what I'll do with it. I might stick it on eBay in its entirety, or I might just stick it in on a shelf in my spare room, and every so often pop in and just have a look and give it a clean off from the dust. So thanks for watching, guys. Please leave comments below. I'm still continuing with the Napoleonics. This is more of a side project just to rekindle some of my youth. And also in a minute I'm going to be doing another video with showing off some of the troops that I painted for my Imperial Guard army. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all soon. Cheers for now.